Hello to all of our viewers, hello Dr. Laitman, and to all of our writers and everyone, content people. This is our weekly content meeting. We have 30 minutes. And we would like to ask about the Holocaust in the era of the corona. Due to the corona, we'll have to limit the different activities related to the Holocaust Memorial Day. People won't go out, there will be no gatherings, and we'd like to ask how in the corona era should we commemorate the Holocaust? I think that we're actually getting from the coronavirus a good lesson. We feel that the corona, it symbolizes our attitude, the relationships between us, how distant we are from one another, how we're passing on to each other different viruses, diseases, hate, in short, how we are incapable of being together to the benefit of others. And therefore it so follows that we deserve to sit in quarantine, isolation, not to meet physically. And what for? We're distanced from one another one way or another, each of us being in his own shell, closed inside his own shell. So be it, so that it'll be clear to us how each of us has to be in isolation with a mask over his nose, mouth, not to breathe each other, not to pass anything on to one another. I'd agree to be this way all life long until we'll really understand that we have to come closer and that we have no other possibility, option, in anything, in family and personal matters. No connection. Until you will have such an attitude toward the other that you're not going to use them, but that you want to serve them. Only this way, the connection between us should be opened, restored. That's the right way to go. Therefore, I actually see in the outbreak of the coronavirus a very good sign, actually. And it seems to me that nature should continue this way, to teach us who we are and about our connection, because otherwise what? We're acting out politics, buying and selling. What are we playing here? We have to be connected as one man and one heart, to the measure to which our hearts come closer to each other, that the mind and heart of each and every one of us is ready to come closer to others. To that measure, we will cancel the quarantine between us, the isolation between us, and then this entire distance that is separating us will grow smaller and smaller until we will be able to be connected. This would have really been a good state if it were possible to do this. I really hope that we will be able to get such discernments out of the coronavirus. It won't leave us. It'll go into further modifications or different changes, and I hope that it'll teach us how to relate to each other corporeally the way we relate to each other internally. I want to relate this to the Holocaust Memorial Day. How should we commemorate it in the times of the coronavirus? What happened to the Jewish people? It's hard to talk about this, and I barely heard anything about it from Rabash. And like we see, Bala Sulam, he barely wrote about it, because we can't talk about the way that we relate to the Holocaust, because if we prepared everything and we're the only ones that have choice, and we're actually the ones that caused this to happen, the Jews, then all in all we have to see the Holocaust as a response to our accumulative sin up to the state where we had to pay so dearly. And this has to only be as an example for us as to how much we really disregard our role, our mission, what we directly got from the Creator, and we have to pass this on to the world, because without that, neither the world nor the Creator can reach a state that was predetermined. What was our sin? The sin of Jewish people. The Jewish people sinned in that not only did they not realize their correction and the correction of the entire world as it has to be, but that they disregard their own correction, and they don't care about their attitude and role in relation to the Creator. So both in relation to the nations of the world, towards itself, toward the Creator, they've sinned in this for the past 2,000 years, and also 1,000 years before that, before we went into the land of Israel. And so, somehow, through Moses, we have reached a state where we have entered the land of Israel under the rulership of Joshua. But afterwards, we were all in a constant descent. From the times of the first temple and until the destruction of the second temple, and afterwards until the Holocaust, and until now, we can say that we still do not feel that we are responsible for the correction of the world, for the correction of humanity, for bringing all of humanity to adhesion with the Creator, that we owe it to humanity and to the Creator, and we are in between, and we disregard everyone and everything, and we ourselves are engaged in horrific things. So, of course, we deserve what we deserve. The Holocaust erased millions, and nowadays the corona is threatening to... No, don't compare the two. What comparison is there? The corona, first of all, it's not against the Jewish people. It's not specifically against the Jewish people. The corona comes in order to teach us how distanced we are from one another. The coronavirus is not a virus, right? It's a force that teaches us of the recognition of evil. That to the measure to which I act poorly toward others, it's forbidden for me to come close to them. That's it. And there's no comparison here. There's no punishment or anything here. It's not a punishment. It is the recognition of evil. That's it. And the Holocaust, I mean, the Jews did bring the Holocaust upon themselves according to the laws of nature as we study. In the Holocaust, the Jews paid on the corporeal level, somehow, not for everything, but they somehow paid for the sin of 2,000 years. That all throughout the 2,000 years and even more, they did not take care of their ego, but only developed it. And Kabbalists, even before the Holocaust, talked about it, wanted to explain this to the nation, and the nation didn't listen. And also the leaders of the nation back then didn't listen. What does the Corona come to teach Jews, and what does it come to teach the nations of the world? Because we are in the state of the end of correction, toward the end of correction, which is called the last generation. So this is what Baal Sulam writes about. Then we do not see now anything unique about nature's attitude toward the nation of Israel, but nature teaches all of mankind, because all of mankind now needs to connect more actively in connection. Toward the correction. And we're publicizing the method of correction to the entire world. We don't take into account that he is Jewish and he's not. But everyone, Jews, the nations of the world, everyone have to join the general correction that has to do with the general soul of Adam. Previously, it was only a part that was related to the nation of Israel that had to be corrected. And partially it is also correct. It was corrected by the Holocaust, as it says that suffering or torments cleanse the will to receive. But now it is a process in which the entire world is going into a correction, and therefore the coronavirus is affecting everyone. You can go to Micronesia or some other place in the Caribbean, and we're not, in Greece or Japan or wherever. It doesn't matter. The coronavirus wants to show us that we are distanced from one another, and that by coming closer, we only pass viruses on to each other. And until we will learn that we have to be correctly directed toward one another, which is something that we don't yet understand what that is, we still can't come closer. This virus, it won't go away. It'll go through different modifications. Eventually, also corporeally, we will learn the kind of relations we should have between us corporeally and also spiritually. The fate of a Jew, an Italian, an American, or whoever, and before the corona is equal. In the meantime, yes. Everyone's fate for the time being is equal. And let's hope that we will realize our role in explaining both to the Jews and the nations of the world in such a way that truly we will realize our destiny and we will not get any special blows as the nation of Israel that functions incorrectly. But to the contrary, if we will function correctly, then the blows will be softer and more directed for everyone. And if there's a 1,000-kilo blow that's spread between 100 million people, then anyone barely feels that it's a blow, but just a small adjustment, guidance, direction. And this is what we're trying to do. If the Jewish people have been negligent about their role for the past 2,000 years, why does the Creator insist for the Jewish people to carry the role out and doesn't give it to some other nation? It's not we who have accepted this role, but as it says that the Creator has chosen us, and therefore we can't come out of this. Besides, what does it mean that I've received a role? In this entire group called the nation of Israel, there is a special desire called the root of the soul or the point in the heart that does not exist in other people. Throughout the past 2,000 years of exile, this spark, it was also passed on to all the rest of the people, meaning to the rest of the parts of the soul of Adam HaRishon. And therefore, today what we see is that there are plenty of representatives of the nation of the world, plenty from the nations of the world that come and wish to carry out this role, to be connected between them, and to be connected between them and the Creator, and to be connected with the Creator and between them, the Creator and the nations of the world, for everyone to be as one. But this is really the call of the hour, that there was nothing similar to this in all previous generations before the few unique individuals like Rabbi Akiva, Onkelos, and so on. The main subject is solidarity in a falling apart world. How do we come to that? How do we reach this state? I don't see this thing that you're talking about. What solidarity do you have in a falling apart world? Beautiful words, but I never saw something like that ever. First of all, what is solidarity? Between whom? The Jews. The Jews, even when you bring them to the door of the gas chambers, of the crematoriums, they don't understand that they're to blame for something. The only fear that they have is that they'll be burned now. They don't feel that they're to blame. They're not willing to deal with what they're supposed to. This is our problem. This is our big trouble. So how do we reach a state of connection, not out of problems where we're facing the gas chambers, God forbid, but in advance? If you're asking me, my hope is that 10% of the Jews, maybe, will join us, as you have joined once, and all the rest will join us from the nations of the world. And therefore, I'm investing all of my forces, and we really have to invest in equipment, dissemination, and disseminating the method of correction to the nations of the world, because actually they will take the nation of Israel on their shoulders and bring them to the temple, because to connect to the Creator, they have no choice. They will need the nation of Israel, but to bring them to connection with the Creator, they will have to take them forcefully and bring them, push them to connection. So the solution that you're offering, the solution is to publicize the method of correction, the wisdom of Kabbalah to all nations, and this way we will reach a state where all nations, like it is according to Isaiah's prophecy, that the nations of the world will take the people of Israel on their shoulders to the Creator. During the pandemic, the Holocaust survivors are less concerned about themselves, but more about the entire nation. They're saying that the lack of unity that we have in our country worries them more than the corona. And they're also saying stop hating each other, stop inciting against each other. We're eating from the same dish. They're right that the lack of connection has to make us more concerned than the corona. I don't know them. I don't listen to these things because all these outcries are egoistic, that do not benefit anything in any way. Big outcry, small outcry, doesn't matter. That everyone's concerned with their own pocket, belly, kids, instead of the correction. And I'm not against all these things, but still, there's no outcry for connection here. I see this as an outcry for trying to escape the blow. We're not talking about the leaders, but about the Holocaust survivors that are very positive about connection. They're very optimistic about everything. Everything will fall into place, but first of all, we have to make sure that we will be connected. This is how the left spoke, the right spoke, everyone, and it did not help us to this day. If not for the wisdom of Kabbalah, it will not help. As simple as that. There is no method for connection. In Israel, nowadays, there are 189,000 Holocaust survivors, 77% of which are over 80. And they're the ones with the most chances to be infected with the corona. How would you strengthen the spirit of the Holocaust survivors that are at home for already a month now without seeing their grandchildren and everything? Look at it as a general blow. Holocaust or not Holocaust survivors, you have many people that really went through things, and that's a problem. I'm not a Holocaust survivor. I was born exactly at the end of the war, end of the Second World War. But what can you do? We have to continue correctly. It's forbidden for us to look back. We're not learning anything from looking back. Anything. It's not that there is some car that broke down, and I learn about what broke down there by examining the car. There's nothing to learn from here. We can learn something only from the wisdom of Kabbalah that explains the right way that we're supposed to be in, and how we're supposed to yearn, and what's the wrong way in which we are today, and to advance that way. But if not that, then sure, I understand that people will start yelling at me again and punishing me for this, for that, what kind of a Jew am I? But it's the truth. What can you do?
But still,
the Holocaust survivors are the ones to be hurt the most. So what can you do? Take them, isolate them someplace. What can you do? So show a good and nice attitude toward them. Take some place in the Jerusalem forest, build some nice place for them. The coronavirus will not go away from one day to the next. It'll be with us for years and years. Build some nice place there. What is 1,000 or 2,000 people? It's nothing. Bring them there. Really create a kingdom for them. They deserve it. They do. So please, instead of pretty words, do something. Can the government do it? The entire nation cannot do it. What does it mean not to learn from the past? Because we are not learning from the Holocaust what is the reason for the Holocaust. No one wants to talk about this. When I say that the Jews are to blame, then I'm looking at a world and people don't want to listen. It's like saying it to a little child. I talk to many people, and I talk gently and softly, and it depends to whom, so they hear just a bit, but usually people don't. And also our attitude toward the media, that instead of mediating, connecting between people, they disconnect people, because we're bringing such an explanation that as if what nation says about itself that it is to blame, and for all the problems of mankind is to blame, and is to blame all throughout history. What nation says that, has to say that no one else was given, that they were given the steering wheel to guide the world, and they're not doing it. And not only that they're not doing it, they don't want to acknowledge that they're not doing it. You have no such example in history. No second to this. Norma, please.
השאלה אם הדוגמה שנותנים את ניצולי שואה זה לא דוגמה שזה כן חיובי כדי להבין שזה לא צריך לקרות שוב? זה מה שהעם היהודי צריך ללמוד מהם?
Shouldn't the Jewish people learn from the Holocaust survivors that it won't happen, so it won't happen again? Excuse me, but what example are they giving? They're telling the nation, let's connect, and let's connect all the nations of the world to us. What example are they giving? What are they doing, the Holocaust survivors? Did they learn something from the Holocaust itself? Besides that they hate the Nazis. I understand them. But how does that help the younger generation? We are using them like some kind of play card, showing them to the world, look, there are Jews here that were saved from the gas chambers that were already on their way to Auschwitz, Birkenau, and all those other places. And now they're in Israel, we are their haven, give us money. We have 2 minutes left. Then what should we do? What should we do now? The Holocaust Memorial Day, in light of the coronavirus, what should we tell the nation of Israel? We should tell the Jewish people that we should give them a very simple message, that we have to understand the laws of nature. Why are things happening? Why the entire German nation, such an educated people, so developed, so well educated that there were none like them all throughout history, before the Second World War. Why did they go and do such a thing? Which is really that they did it through the hands of the upper force, and we have to understand why we have to take into account the upper force and not the Germans. Did they know what they're doing? Like Chaim Ratz, he inquired that previously they actually wanted to do good and to get rid of the Jews in a different way. That they have this kind of, they had this ideology. We have to understand the reasons. The reasons exist in the wisdom of Kabbalah and in the correction of the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel has to understand its destiny, its role, and to explain this to themselves and to the rest of the world. With the Holocaust, without the Holocaust, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't bring up the Holocaust because it influences everyone. It's like a red flag, waving a red rag in front of a bull. I wouldn't talk about the Holocaust. I would only talk about the role of the Jewish people in our time. Yeah, for people that don't know you, it really, makes them mad. We see people on Facebook answering, yeah, I'm actually blaming the Jewish people for what happened to them. Who could agree to that? Yeah, it's hard to listen. But they should think and then write how it affected them, that they start examining, agreeing, thinking, and so on and so forth. I have no choice. It's preferable that they'll yell at me and hate me, and maybe still, precisely by that, will I be able to protect their life. I'd like to conclude from what I hear that everything that Dr. Laitman says it out of great love and concern for the Jewish people. There are many books about the role of the Jewish people, and I'm inviting everyone to go to our site, Kabbalah La'am, and there are many reasons for the increasing anti-Semitism. It's not something that Dr. Laitman is inventing on his own, but it comes from the wisdom of Kabbalah and everything. You have everything on our site on KabbalahMedia.info. Everyone's invited. Thank you very much and see you soon. Thank you.